Howdy, everybody. We have a great show tonight. We're going to talk about, hey, should I even trust you as a GI doctor, referring to myself? We'll talk about how I recommend to support your kid's health, what you can do to make sure they have a good gut microbiome and good health. We'll talk about exactly how alcohol affects your overall gut health. And we'll talk about, you may have seen this in the news, Christian Eriksen's cardiac arrest at the soccer game, what that means, what happened, what happens whenever you have a cardiac arrest, and more, and your live videos today on today's Poop Tip Tuesday. Guys, let's go ahead and talk about poop. Hey guys, my name is Dr. Samir Islam. My passion is to give you tips and tricks to help out with your gut health. I grew up in a small town called Odessa, Texas. You may have known that from the movie Friday Night Lights or even the TV show. I did my undergrad at the University of Texas at Austin, go Longhorns, and I did my GI fellowship training at the Mayo Clinic. So guys, let's talk about poop. All right, we have a great show tonight. I want to thank you so much for joining me on my Poop Tip Tuesday. If you're joining me for the first time, my name is Dr. Islam, and yes, I am your poo-poo doctor. I'm your poop guru. I'm trying to give you, yes, you guys, the best tips and tricks to help out with your health. If you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to a weekly newsletter. I'll put a link down below so I can know exactly, so you can get great tips every single week. All right, big favor, let me know if you're watching this live or on the replay and where you guys are watching this at, what city. I love to know exactly where you guys are watching it from, and what social media channel are you watching this on this video as well. So we have a great show as usual. I'll answer your live questions. I'll try and go through as many as I can. Comment down below. Let me know what live questions you guys have. And I'll answer other questions you guys have also talked about as well in terms of what you sent me. But let's go ahead and answer the first question. Hey, Dr. Islam, how do I know if you are a doctor who I can trust? Oh, well, I think this is a great question. And I think it's a question that I'm actually glad somebody asked me, because you're right. I may not be the right person for you to trust, nor may I be somebody who you should follow. I may not be that. You're exactly right. I need to earn your trust. I need to make sure that I really can really understand your trust as well. I also need to understand to make sure that I am the right person for you, because I may not be. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am a GI doctor, which means I went through 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of medical school, 3 years of internal medicine, and 3 years of additional GI training. I did my GI training at the Mayo Clinic, which was probably one of the top training spots for gastroenterology across the country. I base a lot of my practice on evidence. So I want to give you information that is based on evidence. I want to give you information that is based on true things that have a lot of research and backup for that. And if there's something I'm going to talk about, it's not, we don't have a lot of good evidence for that, I will be straight up and tell you, hey, I don't know if we have a lot of good evidence for that, but based on my clinical experience, this is what's going on. I'm also the chief of GI over at the division of Texas Tech. I'm also the new program director as well for the GI fellowship as well. I published a lot of articles on peer-reviewed journals, but having said all that, you're right, I may not be the best person for you. I've had people come see me who said, hey, you know, we just didn't click, and it may not be the best option that I have for my patient. That's perfectly fine, perfectly understandable. My job is to give you guys the information I know based on the clinical evidence that's out there and based on the scientific literature that I read, and also to give you the information in a way that you can understand as well. I have found that for a lot of my patients, or a lot of people just in general, a lot of doctors don't necessarily they're not able to express themselves in a way that people can understand and express medical jargon, kind of quote unquote jargon, in a way that everyone else can really understand what is going on as well. And so that's the way I try to approach this. I use a plant-based diet as the main evidence for a lot of my information. There's excellent evidence to support a plant-based diet. I try to incorporate a lot of natural foods, natural treatment, and more kind of a natural therapy, but also I bring in the blend of modern medicine as well, so I can have that combination as well. I'm trained in both, and I think with that training, I know exactly which diseases need modern medicine. I know what diseases we can use more natural therapies to help out. And I try to find that balance for a lot of my patients because I understand a lot of people don't want to take a pill. I know a lot of people want to try and do a more natural therapy whether it's diet, maybe it's better sleep, maybe it is supplements or things like that. And by studying both aspects, I'm able to hopefully give that information to a lot of my patients. I base a lot of my clinical judgment on that as well. So I hope that's the case. All right, perfect. All right. So let's talk about question number 2. Hey, Dr. Islam, what is the best thing that I recommend to support a kid's gut health? Well, there are a couple things I recommend for that. Number 1 is pretty much the exact same thing as you recommend for the adults. It's pretty similar to that. Number 1 is that you want to try to minimize all the unnecessary antibiotics. A lot of us are exposed to antibiotics very early on for conditions in which we really don't need to be on antibiotics for, whether it's viruses or other things that are going on. And I think that a lot of us unfortunately are given antibiotics unnecessarily, and by getting unnecessary antibiotics, we are exposing our gut microbiome to changes that it may not need or changes that are not the best thing for them. Tip number 2 is that I really try to recommend to minimize processed foods. Now, I understand, I have kids myself, and sometimes it's so much easier to heat up or cook that macaroni and cheese or those chicken nuggets, and sometimes that's the way life is. But as much as you can, you want to try to minimize processed foods because this is also going to improve your kids' gut microbiome as well. Number 3, you really want to incorporate more fiber type foods. So plants, vegetables, and there are very effective and very tasty ways to incorporate this type of diet into your kids, because I know it's a struggle and there are more and more companies that are helping out with this. But by doing this, you're going to actually improve the gut microbiome and improve what's going on inside the GI tract. And also, you want to try to minimize or try to eliminate as much sugar as you can. Now, sugar is in everything, especially high fructose corn syrup. And it's in a lot of foods that are for kids. And the reason it's in those foods is because those foods taste very, very good. And kids obviously like that, including adults. And that can make it a lot more addicting for a lot of our children as well. But these are some of the tips that I have found that we can use for children to improve their gut health. And if you start that early, that can really provide a really dramatic change later on in life. And I'll tell you, those building blocks that you can build on early in life has been shown in multiple clinical trials to improve the overall outcome for a lot of GI conditions, whether it's Crohn's disease, IBS, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or things like that. So that can really, really have a very important aspect when it comes to your kids' gut health overall. All right, perfect. Abdul Z, it's good seeing you. B, it's good seeing you guys. Thank you guys for watching on everything on the live channel as well. Carol, it's good seeing you guys. Thank you for watching on Facebook and for watching as well. All right, perfect. Sounds good. All right. So let us talk about some more questions here. And once again, if you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button, like, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, don't forget to let me know if you're watching this live or on the replay and what social media channel you're watching this as well. Comment down below, and also comment down below if you guys have any live questions for me as well. All right, perfect. Question number 3. Hey, Dr. Islam, how does alcohol affect your gut? So, I understand people want to drink. I understand alcohol can be a significant social interaction tool for a lot of us, especially, now that we're getting together, now that COVID-19 is dying down in certain areas of the world, we're doing more and more interactions with other people. We're having to do less social isolation as well. But one of the things that we do is we drink alcohol. We know that alcohol just overall increases the amount of inflammation inside your gut, inside your GI tract. And that overall has a negative consequence with your gut. Number 1, it does increase your risk for developing acid reflux. Alcohol is a trigger for acid reflux. It causes that sphincter between the valve and the esophagus to open longer and more often, cause more and more acid to come up, to cause worsening acid reflux. Number 2, so we know that alcohol also causes a lot of gastritis or indigestion or abdominal pain. And that's a very common cause. In fact, we have a term for that called alcohol gastritis. So we can actually see this with the scope, where we can actually see damage inside the stomach from alcohol use. And it's hard to pinpoint how much alcohol you need to cause damage. Everyone's different when it comes to that. That's another thing that can occur as well. Number 3, you obviously know this, but liver issues can occur with alcohol. Now, not everyone who drinks alcohol will develop liver cirrhosis or liver disease. And it's hard to really determine how much alcohol you need because everyone's so individualized, people metabolize it differently. But we do know that alcohol is a direct toxin to your liver. We also know that alcohol in certain individuals can increase your chance of developing liver disease or what's called liver cirrhosis as well. Number 4 is that we know that alcohol can change your gut microbiome, and there's a direct effect on that. It decreases the amount of good guys and increases the amount of pro-inflammatory bacteria inside your gut microbiome as well, and that can make things a lot worse for a lot of our patients. And that change in your gut microbiome over time can really make it more likely for you to have gut diseases, bloating, distension, IBS, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, things like that. And then lastly, and last but certainly not least, there is a significant risk of developing cancers from alcohol. And there's a lot of cancers that are out there that are related to alcohol. Esophageal cancer or cancer of the esophagus, stomach cancer, liver cancer, colon cancer, pancreatic cancer. These are some of the small cancers just within the GI tract. And there's cancers outside the GI tract that can really be a direct correlation for how much alcohol you drink. And so these are the very common things that can cause issues whenever it comes to your GI tract when it comes to alcohol. And once again, it's hard to know for each individual how much alcohol you need to drink to cause damage, nor is it hard for us to know exactly which type of alcohol you need to have for it to cause the damage inside your gut. Everyone's so individualized when it comes to that. Perfect. All right, great, perfect. All right, so next question. Hey, Dr. Islam, I have heard on the news about Christian Eriksen's cardiac arrest in the soccer game. What are your thoughts on that? Well, number one, I want to say that we're very happy that he seems to be doing well based on the reports that I've seen as well, and that the responders that actually went there did a great thing in terms of obviously resuscitating him and getting him back to where he was before, because he was gone. I mean, he was literally dead until the first responders were there to do the CPR and do the actions that they need. So we're very, very happy that he seems to be on the road to recovery. So what actually happens? What actually is a cardiac arrest? This is actually what happens when your heart stops. Now, this is a very young individual, less than 30, who's obviously very fit because he's a professional soccer player. And so his heart just stopped. Why that's the case is hard to speculate. We don't know at this point in time. There are a lot of different reasons why your heart can stop. Number one, you could have what's called an arrhythmia, in which the rhythm of the heart is out of whack. So normally our heart will contract in a pretty sequential fashion. You can feel your heart here, you can feel your pulse here. But for some people, the heart rhythm will go out of whack, and that can make your heart stop. Number two, you can develop what's called cardiomyopathy, which you actually have a dilated heart. It's bigger than what it should be. And that sometimes as well can cause your heart to stop as well. Or for some other people, you can have a clot that forms inside around the arteries of the heart. And that's exactly what occurs when you have a heart attack. And over time, that can cause your heart to stop as well. What we do know is that whenever your heart stops, you're not able to pump out that blood. You lose that blood supply going to all your vital organs. So you feel dizzy. All of a sudden, you just fall down. You don't move. You feel lightheaded. And with that, you lose the lack of blood supply going to your brain. Over time, in pretty short time, if you don't have enough blood going to your brain, you're going to suffer long-term brain damage from that. Now, why Christian Eriksen actually had his heart stop, no one knows why. We have no reports on that, so I'm not going to speculate on what the cause for that. But we are seeing some athletes who are developing heart problems for any number of different reasons. Maybe they had a congenital defect, which we didn't realize until later on. We know that sometimes COVID is causing some issues as well. We also have for some people, their heart can be a lot more dilated, even when you're an athlete, than other individuals. We don't know exactly what it is in this particular case. What we do know is that the first responders did the most important thing, which is using CPR and also using a defibrillator to shock the heart as well. These are critical things that every person should try and understand what to do, because you never know when you're going to be in a situation in which you have to give CPR. And that by far is the most important thing that you can do to bring someone back to life, whether it's a stranger or somebody that you love. Every second counts. Every second that your heart is not beating means that's every second that your blood is not going to your brain, which can cause long-term damage as well. So we'll know more and more about what happened with this particular individual in the next couple of weeks or couple of months, but we are very happy that so far everything seems to be going well. All right, perfect. So Abdul Razak, good question. Is drinking tea a contributing factor to dehydration? And how long after eating should one drink tea and coffee? So it's a very good question, actually. So tea and coffee actually have caffeine in it. And caffeine actually acts as a diuretic, which means it causes you to pee more. And so a lot of people that drink coffee actually end up peeing more. Now, whether that's going to cause complete dehydration is hard to know, but it does play a role when it comes to dehydration. Some people just end up peeing more and more and more. There's no really good time to time this, to be frank with you. Some people, I mean, they have coffee when they have coffee, so there's not really a role when it comes to timing. Here's what you need to do to make sure you kind of get enough fluid. Here's what I recommend. Number one, when you get up in the morning, first thing you need to do is drink 2 cups of water, because you are so parched, your body for those 6 to 8 hours is completely dehydrated. So you're already waking up behind the 8 ball. So drink 2 glasses of water. Before each meal, before breakfast, have 1 glass of water. Before lunch, have 1 glass of water. And before dinner, have 1 glass of water. If you do this, this typically will keep your volume up, keep you less hydrated, and also help out to make sure you're not dehydrated the whole time. So that will help out. Great question. Vicky, it's good seeing you. Thank you for watching on tonight's live stream as well. All right, perfect. All right, guys, perfect. Well, I appreciate you guys. I don't see any other live questions that are here. And all right. Perfect. Gail, it's good seeing you. Thank you for watching on the live stream as well on Facebook. All right, perfect. Well, one thing I would love. Black coffee, Red Street. I've heard that black coffee prevents colon cancer. Well, it's a very good question. We don't have any evidence right now, and I say right now, that black coffee can prevent colon cancer. What we do have evidence for is that black coffee actually does decrease your risk for developing liver issues. So for a lot of my patients that have fatty liver disease or have hepatitis or have liver problems, I do recommend drinking black coffee. The data suggests 2 to 4 cups of black coffee every single day. Now, whether it's decaf or caffeine, it does not matter, but keep in mind it's black coffee. So it's not coffee with a whole bunch of the good stuff, cream, sugar, frappuccino, all that stuff. No, no, no. It is straight up black coffee, and there is excellent evidence that this will decrease your risk for liver disease. We don't have evidence yet to prevent colon cancer, but I bet you we may have evidence soon, because we know that coffee has antioxidants that can really help decrease inflammation going on inside your gut. All right, perfect. All right, thank you guys for watching. All right, perfect. Well, I don't see any other questions, so I want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, every Tuesday I do this live, so send me questions, send me DMs. Let me know what topics you want. Also, please let me know in the comments what you guys think. Are you guys happy with this format? Do you think I should change it? Tell me your thoughts. I would love to hear your recommendations. I want to do this for you guys. I want to make sure you guys get the information. If you haven't already, don't forget to smash that like button, like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a happy and healthy day. Take care, everyone.